Hello there, a very good evening to you. It's News Extra. It's another Wednesday night and here we are. And I must say it's really good to be together once again. It's no gainsaying the times we're in and what lies ahead of us this weekend. The presidential and National Assembly elections. I hope you've had your PVC and you're privileged to be part of the process. Tonight is about politics and more politics. But that's not all. We have other issues of development, governance, and some business stories. That's why it's news with the extra touch. Okay, let's not dwell on what is on the menu. Let's savor the dish. It's News Extra, and I am Fatima Abbas Hassan. Thank you for your company. We now begin with the main issue of the day, politics. Now, President Muhammadu Buhari says his administration is not unmindful of the fact that any government that finds its way into office illegitimately will neither achieve nor sustain public confidence to remain in power. Exchanging views with the Commonwealth Secretary General, Patricia Scotland, the President therefore promised to ensure that the forthcoming elections are free, fair, and credible in the overall interest of the country. State House correspondent Adam Sambu has the details.
The meeting between President Muhammadu Buhari and the Commonwealth Secretary General is coming shortly after the signing of the National Peace Accord by presidential candidates for the forthcoming elections, which they both attended. President Buhari said everything has been done by his administration towards ensuring peaceful and successful elections in Nigeria beginning Saturday this week. He said when people elect their own government through a free and fair process, they will have confidence in such government and support it to deliver on its mandate. The federal government, he said, will not spare any effort towards organizing credible polls and called on Nigerians to come out massively and vote for their choices, as one Nigeria is non-negotiable. President Buhari expressed pleasure that the Commonwealth is not only showing keen interest in the Nigerian election, but wants to be a part of what would engender free and fair polls. The Secretary General, Patricia Scotland, who described Nigeria as a treasured member of the Commonwealth family, expressed optimism that the signing of the peace accord by the main actors would lead to a better voter turnout. She commended what she described as President Buhari's calmness and good humor, even as the polls approach, stressing that when Nigeria is healthy, vibrant and strong, the whole of Africa is strengthened. Patricia Scotland also lauded the energetic way the president has pursued issues of security and anti-corruption, pledging that the Commonwealth stands ready to assist Nigeria at all times. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
In another development, the President, Muhammadu Buhari, has joined other presidential candidates for the forthcoming general elections to review their pledge for peaceful elections. This was at the second signing of the National Peace Accord on the prevention of violence and acceptance of the election results under the auspices of the National Peace Committee. The President said although the elections are significant for the growth of the nation's democracy, they are important only to the extent that they make Nigeria peaceful and stronger. Again, Adam Sambu brings us the details.
This is indeed the crowning moment for consolidation of the peace efforts by the National Peace Committee as President Muhammadu Buhari of the governing APC and candidates of the other political parties formally signed the second National Peace Accord. The overriding objective is not only to keep the peace during and after the forthcoming elections, but also accept the will of the nation's voting populace, as explained by the chairman of the National Peace Committee, General Abdusalami Abubakar.
By agreeing to sign this covenant for peace, all of you are committing yourselves to ensuring an enduring peace in Nigeria after the elections, and agreeing to look beyond short-term electoral gain, sectional interest, or narrow party advantage, and accepting to focus on nothing but the national interest.
Commonwealth Secretary General Patricia Scotland and others who delivered messages of goodwill harped on the need for the candidates to live up to the letter and spirit of the Peace Accord, saying Nigeria, the jewel of Africa and standard of reference politically and economically, must not fail.
The country, the regions, the continent and wider world are holding their breath. What happens in Nigeria matters to all.
To the presidential candidates present, I wish to stress that your pledge for peace today is vital.
Accepting the outcome of the polls and calling for restraint on the part of followers is critical.
We, the traditional rulers, are committed to contributing our own quota by constantly appealing to our people to keep the peace.
Both President Muhammadu Buhari of the APC and candidate Atiku Abubakar of the PDP restated their commitment to the peace enterprise as Nigerians return to the polls on Saturday to exercise their franchise.
I am making a special appeal to our young people. Do not allow yourselves to be used to cause violence. Please eschew all forms of violence and cooperate with all the relevant agencies during these elections. We will vote according to parties, but in the end, the only real party is Nigeria, our country.
Every candidate must remember that this election is about the future of Nigeria. I appeal once again to our citizens to go out and cast their votes for the candidates of their choice, to be peaceful at all times.
Important, President Buhari said, is for him and the other candidates to accept the final outcome, as both INEC, the electoral umpire, and the law enforcement agencies are committed to executing their mandates conscientiously.
It was to ensure this that I made sure that INEC received all the resources they needed to perform their job. Our security agencies have been fully briefed, and they know that their visible neutrality is key to credibility and success of the elections. To all our citizens, let us use this opportunity to strengthen our belief in a united country. Let us do our best and ask God to bless us and our country.
More than 70 out of the 91 political parties fielded presidential candidates for the general elections, the 6th since the rebirth of democracy in 1999. In Abuja, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
And a few days to the 2019 presidential election, the APC presidential campaign has been held at the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, where President Muhammadu Buhari appealed to the international community to assist the country in recovering the nation's looted funds stashed abroad. Kemi Fakeye was there and now reports.
The Eagle Square in Abuja was filled to capacity by APC supporters and leaders from all the area councils in the Federal Capital Territory who came to be part of the party's presidential campaign mega rally. It was another opportunity for the governing APC to showcase the achievements of President Buhari in the last 3.5 years and also thank him for his doggedness and commitment towards developing Nigeria. President Buhari thanked the people for appreciating his efforts and promised to do more if re-elected, adding that he is committed more than ever towards ensuring that Nigerians reap the dividends of democracy. He said the country is doing well in economy, fight against insurgency and corruption, but the country is underestimated.
Those people who said they sent 16 billion American dollars on power, eventually they will account for it. Those who have been given responsibilities in the city tiers of government, the center, the state and local government, and they abuse it, we will ask the security agencies to investigate them and prosecute them. If you give us the next 4 years, I assure you, you will not regret it.
Other people who spoke at the rally, including Secretary to Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, the Deputy Director General, APC Presidential Campaign Council, Olorunimbe Mamora, representative of the wife of the President, and the representative of the National Chairman of the APC, as well as the FCT Minister, Mohamed Bello, maintained that Nigeria has fared well under President Buhari's administration in terms of infrastructural development and peaceful atmosphere.
4 years ago, we couldn't even go to our places of worship, not to come to this kind of place. So that is why, Your Excellency, the 1,300,000 registered voters in Abuja have decided to cast their vote for you.
Mr. President Muhammadu Buhari has fulfilled his mandate. Therefore, he deserves re-election.
You have shown that you are the greatest economist today. You took this country from recession. Under 1 year, today we are making a lot of progress.
The rally witnessed the defection of some members of other political parties to the APC, while other political parties signified their adoption of President Buhari as their candidate for the Saturday's election. The APC presidential rally has been held in 35 states of the Federation, including the FCT. Kemi Fakeye, NTA News.
And still on APC campaign, the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, has continued his door-to-door campaign in Odogbolu and Ijebu-Ode area of Ogun State, of Ogun East Senatorial District in Ogun State. During the campaign, the Vice President preached the good news of President Muhammadu Buhari's plan to take Nigeria to the next level if voted this Saturday. Correspondent Yemi Dalemo has that report.
The Vice President Chopper touched down at the Muslim primary school Odogbolu and was received by Pa Idowu Onongoruwa, commending the giant stride of President Muhammadu Buhari's administration. Professor Osinbajo, during the door-to-door visit, told the people to support and vote en masse for President Muhammadu Buhari for overall turnaround of the fortunes of the country during the February 16 presidential election. He was also at the Itaosu market in Ijebu-Ode, where he told the market men and women the plan of President Muhammadu Buhari to create 1.5 million jobs for the youth, give license to investors in the power sector to generate power to communities across the country, as well as increase soft loan to traders and market men and women from 2 million to 10 million beneficiaries.
The money that we should use for education, the money we should use to give jobs to all our young people, we will do so.
The Hausa community in Ijebu-Ode commended the Vice President, assuring him of their support. The Vice President and his entourage held a town hall meeting in Agoiwi, attended by Ibumawe of Agoiwi, Oba Abdrazak Adenuba, and sons and daughters of the community, and also met sons and daughters of Ijebu-Ibu community. The Vice President told the gathering to cast their votes en masse for all APC candidates in February 16 and March 2nd elections. Ogun State governorship candidate of the party, Dapo Abiodun, accompanied the Vice President during the campaign exercise. In Ijebu-Ode, Yemi Dalemo, NTA News.
The Accident Investigation Bureau has released the preliminary report on accident involving the Caverton helicopter, which had Vice President Yemi Osinbajo and 12 other persons on board. Part of the initial findings of the agency indicate that the Caverton Helicopter Limited did not conduct site survey of the landing field in Kaba prior to the flight. Michael Olaleye completes the report.
That was the helicopter that conveyed the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, with 12 others to Kaba in Kogi State. Although several reports indicated that the helicopter experienced difficulty shortly before crash landing. Nigerians, however, were grateful to God that the Vice President and others survived. But apprehension about the remote cause continues to linger.
Investigators were deployed to Kaba, Kogi State on the 3rd February 2019 and commenced post-occurrence assessments under the provision of the Civil Aviation Investigation of Air Accidents and Incidents Regulation of 2016.
The Commissioner of AIB, Akin Olateru, at a media briefing said Caverton helicopters, operators of the aircraft marked 5N CML neither conducted site survey of the landing field parallel to the flight, nor carry out safety and risk assessment of the landing area parallel to dispatch of the flight. The agency, however, suggested that NCA should issue an advisory circular to all helicopter operators flying in Nigeria to be alert of the possibility and effect of burnout. The Accident Investigation Bureau said the preliminary report is to provide details of findings surrounding the incident, with the assurance that the comprehensive report will be released in the next couple of months. In Lagos, Michael Olaleye, NT News.
Southeast Royal Fathers bless second term bid of President Muhammadu Buhari. These and more will come after the break. Join us again.
The UN compound houses about 400 employees.
The Nigerian capital Abuja is still reeling from Monday morning's rush hour bomb.
If the group did carry out the attack, it would be one of its worst.
2 suicide bombings in Nigeria. One targeted a convoy carrying Nigeria's main opposition leader.
A gun attack on the central mosque in North Nigeria's biggest city, Kano.
21 people have died in a large explosion at the Banex Plaza shopping centre in the capital, Abuja.
Islamist extremists brought Christmas carnage to churches across Nigeria.
Inner strength, yeah, that comes from the hard knocks that life throws at us. And we Nigerians, we know all about that. We don't stay down, we get up and fight. Sure, it's about speed, technique, quality of the punches, reach. But the real fight is with myself.
It's the power, but it's the speed as well.
But I can't carry this heavyweight title by myself. There's always got to be someone in my corner. And that's why I believe in Glow. We have that same tenacity, that Nigerian fighting spirit that makes us game changers. You have to dig deep to be a world champion. But yeah, we Nigerians, yeah, we know all about that.
What a fight!
Glow, our halo.
Heavyweight champion of the world!
Hello Nigerians, I bring greetings from all of us in the diaspora. Let's protect each other. Let's develop our country so those of us abroad can be proud to return home. Let's vote for integrity. Let's vote for development. Let's vote for the next level. I stand with Muhammadu Buhari.
His Excellency, the Governor of Kaduna State, Right Honorable Aminu Bello Masari, CFR, on behalf of himself, government and members of All Progressives Congress, APC, invites the good people of Kaduna State to come out en masse and welcome President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, for the APC 2019 presidential campaign, which will be held on Thursday, 14th February 2019 at Muhammadu Dikko Stadium, Kaduna by 10 a.m. The entire people of Kaduna State assure you our unflinching support and success to your second-term bid for continuity with the remarkable achievements in economic reconstruction, infrastructural development, fighting corruption and insecurity for a viable Nigeria. With Baba Buhari, next level is certain. Chairman, Kaduna State APC 2019 Campaign Council and Secretary to the Government, Mustafa Mohamed Inua, announcer.
It has taken the previous government about 10 years to destroy Nigerian economy. And it's much, much more easier to destroy than to build. We virtually achieved food security. We made fertilizer available. At virtually half the price, we met it. And we are producing it locally. We don't import rice virtually anymore. And we are even exporting grains. Petroleum products have gone drastically down from about $140 to $50. For Nigeria, that's a major setback. When we came, it was 20-something billion. It's now 43-something billion. We are very, very serious about corruption and reorganizing the economic institutions of the country.
Good day, fellow Kwarans. On behalf of Kwara APC, I'd like to thank each and every one of you for coming out massively to support the re-election campaign of President Muhammad Buhari and the Ochuke movement. Thank you, and God bless you.
I was a little girl. I loved spending time with Mum and Grandma cleaning the house. I was so excited to sing in the choir. And your shirts are always so white. I knew what Mum's secret was. Today, I'm a modern woman that still trusts the secrets passed down to me. It's Jik, of course. The original trusted bleach, which can be used all around your house for amazing results. Shh, it's our little secret. It's no secret. It's Jik's best ever extra whitening power. Just Jik it.
2019. Atiku Abubakar. See, we don't articulate. Get articulated. I go follow the man where Sabi the Kodo. I go follow the man where Sabi the Woko. I go follow the man where go create employment. I go follow the man where go stop the hunger. I go vote for the movement we go make Nigeria work again. I don't articulate. People articulate, my Yoruba people don't articulate. Nigeria articulate, Hausa people don't articulate. Roma, Tifi, Igala, Ishekiri, Nupe, Anuri, everybody don't articulate.
For a better Nigeria, vote Atiku Abubakar for president 2019.
Nigeria, land of great people. The general elections are here again. Exercise your civic responsibility. The Christian Council of Nigeria is calling Nigerians of voting age to participate actively in the electoral process. Your vote is your power. It's your right. Yes, your vote counts. Shun tribal, religious and ethnic sentiments. Support politics without violence. It's one person, one vote. Let us conduct ourselves orderly during and after the elections. Don't be used as a political thug. Together, we can make Nigeria greater. This message is powered by the Christian Council of Nigeria, CCN.
Some people say, nah, Buhari, that cause the problem Nigeria get. Nigeria people, we say na lie. Now Buhari, they help prepare them. We they see the good work Buhari, they do for we country. Oh, that's why we say, now we want to. Good work everywhere, anti-corruption fight. Our refinery done the work, we done they grow. Our food, yo. Our people say, nah, Buhari. For Niger Delta, nah, Buhari.
People of Niger Delta don't talk. Now Muhammad Buhari, we all don't agree to vote as president. We all don't enjoy the peace. We don't take our Niger Delta region. See the Ogoni land clean up where President Buhari don't launch. We're gonna make them clean everywhere for our land. Now so they join all our elders and youths together to decide the matter. We're gonna better for we all. Area! Make we all come out on Saturday and vote President Muhammad Buhari as president. This is a message now from Niger Delta Coalition for the re-election of President Muhammad Buhari.
Hello there, it's good to have you back with us on News Extra tonight. And we continue talking politics. The Southeast royal fathers have reiterated the support of the Igbo people for President Muhammadu Buhari's second tenure as president. The spokesperson of the royal fathers and deputy chairman, Southeast Council of Traditional Rulers, His Royal Highness Oliver Ohanwe, stated this during an interactive session with the media in his palace. Chuma Nwankwere has the details.
From a meeting in the state recently, the royal fathers in a communique reiterated their support and that of their subjects for the second-term bid of President Buhari, stressing that he has done so much for the people of the geopolitical zone. The spokesperson of the group and deputy chairman, Southeast Council of Traditional Rulers, His Royal Highness Eze Oliver Hanwe, echoed the mind of the royal fathers.
Our reasons are that Mr. President Muhammad Buhari has been fighting corruption seriously, with passion, has also engaged in developmental activities like giving Nigeria's railways, giving us good roads, repairing our roads from Enugu to Port Harcourt and other areas within Southeast.
He opined that 2023 presidential ambition of Ndibo will be realized if President Muhammadu Buhari is elected for a second tenure.
Mr. President Muhammad Buhari should understand our interest is for us to also have Igbo presidency 2023, because this is a democratic nation.
Chuma Wankwere, NTA News.
And in a similar development, the Arewa Consultative Forum, an umbrella socio-cultural organization of the North, has endorsed President Buhari's re-election bid. Achari Maxwell says this was at the forum's meeting in Kaduna.
The meeting of the Arewa Consultative Forum evaluated critical national issues, especially current political situation and its implication for peace, unity and progress of Nigeria. Conveying the position of the ACF to journalists, the acting chairman, National Executive Council of the Forum, Musa Liman Kwande, says
the ACF is therefore of the view that certain attributes such as clarity of thought, unity of purpose, content of character, and morality of the candidate will guide voters in making their choices.
Consequent upon this, we are of the strong belief that Muhammad Buhari, or President Muhammad Buhari, in view of what we have said, deserves a second term to consolidate on his achievements.
The forum cautions the electorate and the political class not to factor the election on inducement, mob hysteria, or false promises, but on calm and deliberate considerations. In Kaduna, Maijama Adamu, NTA News.
Do bear with us for the mix-up in the reporters of that film report. It was actually by Maijama Adamu. Moving on, some leaders and ex-agitators from the Niger Delta, under the aegis of peace ambassadors of the Niger Delta, have endorsed President Muhammadu Buhari for a second term in office. This was part of the resolutions reached at the end of a one-day peace and non-violence workshop organized by the group with a theme towards a violence-free elections in the Niger Delta. Emmanuel Lene has that report.
The workshop seeks to foster peace before, during and after the 2019 elections, promote political consciousness among the youths of the Niger Delta, as well as take a common position that will promote the interests of the Niger Delta in the 2019 elections. Presentations on the theme of the workshop drew attention to the development efforts of President Buhari in the Niger Delta in the last 3 years.
They did the rehabilitation and reconstruction of the moribund rail system in Port Harcourt, construction of the Kat-Saba Road, Bini-Auchi-Okene Road construction.
To the peace ambassadors, President Muhammadu Buhari's administration has shown commitment to addressing critical issues of development in the region, for which the leaders, youths, and over 30,000 beneficiaries of the amnesty program have no option but to endorse him for a second term as part of their communique.
As witness of the commitment of the government to these issues that we have presented over the years, we decided to endorse the government of President Muhammad Buhari from 2019.
It is our unanimous decision that we, as the people, and as leaders of the Nigerian Delta will support President Muhammadu Buhari come Saturday. Have we all agreed? Those who are in agreement should say yes. Yes.
Participants also resolved to engage with President Buhari after the election to pursue the collective interest of the ex-agitators. In Port Harcourt, Emmanuel Lene, NTA News.
In the meantime, President Muhammadu Buhari has again assured Nigerians of his commitment to remain focused on working to improve their lives and to provide leadership that will not sacrifice their well-being for any personal or material gains. This was at an interfaith town hall meeting at the presidential villa, Abuja. State House correspondent Jide Onifade has that report.
The road to greater prosperity for Nigeria, the president said, may be rough and tough, is determined to ensuring that the greatness is achieved. Speaking through the secretary to the government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, the president said so much has been achieved with little resources and that if re-elected, the nation would witness more improvement in the economy, security, and incorruptible society.
We have to secure the country first. We have to create the enabling environment. And I believe that the president is determined to secure this country, to make sure that all areas of conflict are reduced to the minimum for people to be able to express whatever they want to express in terms of their enterprises and grow wealth and prosperity for themselves and their families and their communities.
Participants drawn from various parts of the country commend the president's achievements and pledged their support for his re-election to complete his laudable program for the country.
The current regime has done so much for the Nigerian people. We must not be like the 10 lepers. We must pay back by voting President Muhammadu Buhari massively. We must not go back to darkness.
That we are in support of him. We endorse him 100%. And we are going to mobilize our people to come out and vote him in mass.
What we don't know, we have known them, and we'll do them.
I want us to be very positive on our nation, and positive on our leaders, and positive on the direction we are going. Therefore, let this Saturday be a Saturday that the world will celebrate as a World Peace Day.
The theme of the meeting is Reforming Nigeria, the challenge of delivering good governance.
Well, it's important to have unity of purpose. Nothing can be achieved without unity. We need to put our head together. We need to know that we are a nation full of different groups, different ideas, different perceptions.
What is important is for us to come together as one and look at what is in the best interest of Nigeria and best interest of a person. So we believe that unification is key. We appreciate our differences across our ethnicity and religion. But what is imperative is that we should be together and live harmoniously.
The Interfaith Town Hall meeting was organized by the APC Presidential Campaign Council. From the banquet hall of the State House, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
Well, it's only 3 days to the presidential election, and the APC Women and Youth Presidential Campaign Council was in Daura, Katsina State, hometown of President Muhammadu Buhari, who is also the chairperson of the campaign council. I beg your pardon. Particularly the political class, to avoid playing politics of godfatherism.
The Women and Youth Wing of the Campaign Council, led by wife of the President, is already engaging electorates in the state. This is in continuation of its nationwide rallies. Wife of the President, Aisha Buhari, reaffirmed that throughout the campaigns, Nigerians have shown commitment of a better country. This, she said, could only be achieved by electing the right leaders. She urged the youth to take advantage of the youth-friendly policies of the Buhari administration to add value in the process of nation building.
Democracy has come to stay, and it seems that the whole of this country, it was only General Buhari that was tested and trusted. We have finished 4 years. We're about to start another 4 years by the grace of God. After him, who next? This is an opportunity for the women and youth
youths.
She advised the people to come out en masse to support the re-election bid of President Buhari for a sustainable development. Salihu Abdullahi, NTA News.
In the meantime, preparations have been concluded for the grand finale of the APC presidential campaign rally in Katsina. Correspondent Bashir Bala went round the state capital and filed this report on the mood of the people there.
Muhammad Dikko Stadium, the venue for the grand finale of President Muhammadu Buhari's re-election campaign. And as you can see in the background, the stadium is getting set as part of preparations for the arrival of the presidential campaign train on Thursday here in Katsina State. Dr. Mustapha Muhammad Inuwa is the campaign coordinator for Buhari Masari in Katsina State. He told NTA that several political groups and associations as well as individuals have been mobilized to attend the campaign rally to make the best and most attended.
We are targeting less than 150,000. The way we have worked the preparations, because we intend to bring people from each and every polling unit.
Dr. Mustapha noted that the Katsina State government is working with security agencies to provide adequate security during the rally. Go around the state capital, one can feel the changing atmosphere reflecting the enthusiasm of people towards the coming of Mr. President to Katsina. Several streets along the venue of the rally are now adorned with posters of President Buhari and APC candidates. Some residents of Katsina who spoke to NTA expressed their readiness to welcome the presidential campaign train.
If you check around the environment, most people are really coming out, being happy that he's going to come because the change they wanted, they are seeing it.
The 2019 elections campaigns in Katsina State have been generally described as the most peaceful in recent times. In Katsina, Bashir Bala, NTA News.
You're watching News Extra, the news with the extra touch. More reports after the commercial break. Join us again.
All TVs say picture quality, but never mention the most important color, black. It uncovers the hidden details of nature, brings out the richness in all colors, and reveals life. With self-lighting pixels, only OLED TVs make perfect black, and perfect black creates perfect color. LG OLED TV.
What does next level mean? Simple. Economic growth. Since President Buhari spent the first term focusing on fixing security and corruption, he has built the foundation for growing our economy. And in his second term, he will focus on creating jobs, millions of jobs. We will invest in a huge infrastructure development plan, using rail and road to connect every major city in Nigeria. This means travel for people will be cheaper, goods will be cheaper, and it will provide over 1 million jobs in construction, logistics, maintenance, and services. This means more money in your pocket, which is the very definition of economic growth. By creating these jobs, we shall increase prosperity and decrease poverty. Make the right choice. Vote for Buhari. We are building a strong Nigerian economy for all.
I thought leaving the country was the best decision for me and my future.
I left for a better life.
We were picked up by immigration officials and sent to a detention camp.
I spent 8 months in the detention camp.
There was no food, no water.
I saw people being beaten like animals.
Some women were raped. Some women were sold as slaves.
I thought I would never see my loved ones again.
I have made the biggest mistake of my life.
I have wasted all my savings.
I have to start all over again.
Migration is a human phenomenon which cannot be stopped. But if we choose to migrate, we advocate that it should be done in a safe, orderly, regular and dignified way, and not in a dangerous and tortuous manner.
This message is brought to you by the National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons.
We, the Nigerian youth, have resolved to stand with you, Baba, in the next level. We recognize your commitment to create jobs and empower the youth. Your strategic policies in the agri-sector has not only increased gainful employment and boosted production, but also saved the nation billions of dollars in foreign exchange. We are benefiting from your deployment of infrastructure across the country, with Abuja, Kaduna, and Lagos-Abeokuta rail lines completed. Itakpe-Ajaokuta-Warri rail line will soon be completed, while Lagos-Kano rail line is under construction. Additional 1,531 kilometers of roads have been completed and over 1,000 kilometers rehabilitated across the country. The second Niger bridge is on the way through Presidential Infrastructure Development Fund. Hydropower plants in Mambila, Zungeru and many other power projects are under construction to add value to the improved power generation, transmission and distribution in the country. Brokering and sustaining peace in the Niger Delta has helped stabilize the economy, thereby increasing investment in the oil and gas sector. We are coming with you to the next level to see the Empower scheme increase to 1.5 million beneficiaries and full implementation of the 10 billion Naira Youth Entrepreneurship Project. Nigerian youth, let's connect to the next level. This message is powered by Dr. Tony Oye, Director Youth Mobilization, APC Presidential Campaign Council.
Developing the nation's human resource.
On election day, here is how to handle your ballot paper from the point of collection from the polling official to the point of casting your ballot.
Once a voter is accredited, he is given the ballot paper rolled out.
After thumb printing the ballot in secret, fold the ballot paper inward and flatten. Then proceed to the area where the ballot box is placed in the open and deposit the ballot paper into the appropriate box. Ensure the ballot paper is properly folded. Fold your ballot paper properly. Avoid mishandling your ballot paper and prevent blot ballots.
We are going to introduce quick dry impact so that will eliminate the risk of smashing and spoiling the ballot paper.
Making your vote count, consolidating our democracy.
Lifebuoy. Recommended by experts, new Lifebuoy is now in Nigeria. Not just Lifebuoy, new Lifebuoy. Lifebuoy.
Munch it, what a tasty, crunchy feeling. Munch it, gotta munch it every day. Munch it, just give me that super snack. Munch it, so irresistible. Munch it, makes me wanna say one munch, two munch, non-stop munch. Munch it is here, irresistible. One munch, two munch, non-stop munch.
Try a pack of Munch It snack at 50 Naira.
We're glad to have you again on News Extra tonight. The national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Adams Oshiomhole, has expressed confidence that the APC will win the forthcoming elections in view of the support it got during its nationwide campaigns. This was at a press conference held in Abuja. Saliu Abdullahi was there.
The national chairman says the party has gone through a crucial stage in the electioneering period, and now is the time for APC supporters to show commitment and sacrifice to ensure the successful re-election of President Buhari. He said more than ever before, and having campaigned across the country, the party's membership has grown due to the influx of more people into their fold, attracted by the good governance the party is providing to the people.
Around the world is unanimous that the way to sustainable growth and development is to massively invest in critical and basic infrastructure, including roads, rail, and power. And as President Muhammadu Buhari has repeatedly said, these are the key areas that public funds have been diverted to. which is why if you look at the structure of the budget of this government and the actual releases, you will find that even with declining revenue, President Muhammadu Buhari's government had devoted far more resources to this key basic infrastructure.
He has this message for the electorate.
As our president has said repeatedly, just go and vote. It is not a war, there's no fight. Nigeria must necessarily win. When I say Nigeria must necessarily win, if the candidate that put Nigeria first win and it governs to the benefit of Nigeria, there is no loser.
He said building an egalitarian country is the collective responsibility of all. In Abuja, Salihu Abdullahi, NTA News.
Now, since the return to democracy in 1999, Nigeria has been conducting elections every 4 years. Well, it's another major election time after the 2015 experience, and the electorate will go to the polls to elect their leaders. But how prepared is INEC for the elections? Would recent incidents of fire at certain INEC offices affect the electoral process? And how educative are the citizenry on matters of electoral violence? It's over now to Talatu Ezirike.
Politics is a game of numbers, and these various parties in the past weeks have been campaigning to win the votes of the more than 84 million electorate. Going by the electoral guidelines, campaigns for the presidential and National Assembly elections are expected to end on 14 February, which is 2 days to the elections. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, that oversees elections has commenced work with delivery of electoral materials and has adopted stringent measures aimed at ensuring free, fair and credible elections. INEC is optimistic that the 2019 elections will stand out even in the wake of fire outbreaks in some of its offices.
We assure the Nigerian people that elections will take place in Anambra on Saturday. If somebody does not move in to go and manipulate the voters' register, if somebody does not go to snatch ballot papers, if somebody does not go to set INEC offices on fire, of course there won't be any challenge relating to the elections.
It's the rights of citizens and actually their responsibility to ensure that they defend the votes that they cast, because that's where the impression comes that their votes don't count. When you drive people away from polling units, what happens is that they go away with the impression that something has happened and their votes are not counting.
Other areas of concern for many include safety of the electorate and alleged compromise by security personnel in the electoral malpractice.
We don't rig election. Police provide security for the conduct of the election.
If we have integrity as our key, our focus, it will not be do or die issue. It will not be at all cost. And our value system must be re-engineered.
Analysts advise Nigerians to take seriously issues of nation building by electing credible leaders to advance growth to better the lives of the citizenry. Talatu Ezirike, NTA News.
And as the country prepares for the presidential election, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, says the Army has developed an election situation room for the monitoring of the 2019 general elections. What is the situation room meant for? Defense correspondent Ismail Musa tells us.
The Election Security Monitoring Room with a state-of-the-art technology is aimed at providing real-time situation report to enhance rapid response to security breach during the electoral process. The situation room will also provide the civil populace an avenue to report security-related issues in their locality and cases of unprofessional conduct of troops. It is also integrated with accredited election monitoring and civil society groups to ensure effective monitoring of situations.
We have troops on patrols, we have them stationary on standby,
and they will be able to respond quickly. And all the formations, the GOCs, the brigade commanders have access, or we have linked to them, that we can reach them within the shortest possible time. I think response time, 3-5 minutes, they'll be to respond, some almost immediately.
The facility will operate till the end of the gubernatorial elections. In Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
Now, the earlier position by INEC, which states that there was no primary election by the All Progressives Congress APC in Zamfara State, has been upheld by the Court of Appeal sitting in Sokoto. Sadia Umar Digi reports that the presiding judge, Justice Jummai Hannatu Sanke, after due deliberations, dismissed the case.
Justices at the Court of Appeal sitting in Sokoto had on the 8th of February 2019 disqualified themselves over an allegation of being compromised. This prompted the President of the Court of Appeal to constitute another panel with Justice Jummai Hannatu Sanke as the presiding judge. At today's sitting, the principal appellant reiterates his wish to withdraw the application filed on the 8th of February 2019. The presiding judge, Justice Jummai Hannatu Sanke, maintained that the appellant can withdraw his appeal under Order 11, Rule 1 and 5, bringing an end to the court sitting and hearing even before the appeal is heard.
So the position, therefore, as we are today, is that the earlier position maintained by INEC is that there were no primary elections in Zamfara State, and that position remains today.
The court judgment today maintained that no candidate for the governorship, national and state assembly in the 2019 election for the All Progressive Congress. In Sokoto, Sadia Umar Digi, NTA News.
And speaking in Abuja, the acting Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Ibrahim Tanko Mohammed, has told the international community that the independence of the nation's judicial arm of government is not under threat. He stated this while receiving the European Union Observer Delegation for the 2019 general elections in Nigeria. Judicial correspondent Femi Okewo has that story.
It was a highly interactive visit to the Supreme Court of Nigeria, with all the 14 justices of the nation's apex court in attendance, other than the 2 who currently have litigations against them, Justice Walter Onogen and Justice Sylvester Nguta. And the atmosphere was such as to allow for the raising of the most sensitive issues in the judiciary by the European Union team, based on the recent happenings in the land, all with the intent to engender confidence in the electoral system.
We are also independent from your country, because if you ask us to do this observation, is to do it as frankly as possible.
And one after the other, the justices, beginning with the acting Chief Justice of Nigeria, pointed to the inbuilt disciplinary, constitutional, and independent mechanisms of the Nigerian judiciary.
That will show the society our transparency, our honesty, and our dedication to service.
What is happening in the judiciary with the leadership of the judiciary, that has nothing to do with our judgments. That is something completely different.
There is no fear at all, because we operate within the constitutional provisions and the Electoral Act.
The judiciary represents the last leg of every election in Nigeria, which is why the interaction between the European Union delegation that is observing the 2019 general elections and the nation's judiciary is important in raising the level of confidence for this year's general elections. From the Supreme Court, Femi Okewo, NTA News.
The Code of Conduct Tribunal has issued a warrant of arrest on the suspended Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Walter Onogen. This follows an application made to the tribunal by the federal government following the refusal of Justice Onogen to appear before the tribunal. Again, judicial correspondent Femi Okewo reports.
At the last sitting of the Code of Conduct Tribunal on Monday last week, the prosecution counsel representing the federal government, Aliu Umar, had warned that he will be forced to move the application for a bench warrant if the CJN again absents himself from the tribunal. And that was what happened at the day's sitting.
If he's absent again,
I will ask for the appropriate order. I'm not happy that he is not appearing. And by his position, he is a person who should obey the summons of the court of law.
The preliminary objection to the jurisdiction of the tribunal, which the defense had promised to move, did not come up. By this warrant of arrest, the police and DSS have been ordered to produce Justice Walter Onogen on Friday, 15th of February. Meanwhile, the National Judicial Council, rising from another emergency meeting, has set up a 5-man committee to investigate the petitions written against Justice Walter Onogen and Justice Ibrahim Tanko Muhammad. After the receipt of their response, in accordance with the rules of the NJC, a new petition by the Action People's Party, APP, was also received against the acting CJN, Justice Tanko Muhammad, and forwarded to him for his response within 7 working days. In Abuja, Femi Okewo, NTA News.
Still to come on NTA News Extra, stories on the economy and infrastructural development. Don't go away, we'll be right back.
Hello Nigerians, I bring you greetings from all of us in the diaspora. Let's protect our future. Let's develop our country so those of us abroad can be proud to return home. Let's vote for integrity. Let's vote for development. Let's vote for the next level. As a member of Team Nigeria for Change, I stand with Muhammadu Buhari.
Helen!
Hey, where's your mom?
Today is her toilet day.
What?
Helen!
Toilet day?
Tomorrow you're hosting a party and it's a matter of my reputation.
Even if you spend your entire day cleaning with all this, it still won't be party ready.
Impossible!
Challenge?
New
Ticker Harpic 10X. Even if you use this solution 10 times, it won't give you the same cleaning like Harpic. Because its new Ticker formulation sticks to the bowl better, giving you a sparkling clean toilet.
Wow!
New Harpic 10X
gives me the freedom from toilet day.
Kwara State, we have a lot of graduates. They are jobless.
I'm a teacher in Kwara State. Our salaries are among the lowest in Nigeria, and they are not even paid regularly.
Ide kin bare dadana na gebo wangina ama gwamnati ya kin Kwara nje ta makokoko ya
Osogun ní àwọn hospitals ẹni mi tó bá need oxygen gan ò rí gbà, so in doing that ọ̀pọ̀ wọn ló ń kú.
Ó tó gẹ́ Jani.
Ó tó gẹ́ Sanantura.
Ó tó gẹ́.
Ó tó gẹ́. Enough is enough. It's time we had a Kwara that works for all. Vote APC. Vote for me, Abdurrahman Abdurazak, as Kwara State Government.
Getting around heartburn and indigestion can be tricky if you eat too much. Eat food that is too spicy or greasy, or lie down after eating. Heartburn and indigestion could always be around the corner. When they come, be prepared with Gaviscon Double Action. It works within 3 minutes and lasts up to 8 hours. Gaviscon Double Action. Many causes, one solution.
Nigerian women, una dead, market women, una dead, time we don't reach where we go pay back. Person we make life better, make we vote now. Who give us electricity? President Buhari. Airport. President Buhari. Railway President Buhari. Peace and security. President Buhari. They feed our children. President Buhari. For school. President Buhari. Better road President Buhari. 4+4. President Buhari. Job creation. President Buhari. Empower. President Buhari. Trader money. President Buhari. Nigerian women. Time we don't reach where we go pay back.
This message is brought to you by Ajia Salamatu Bewa, National Woman Leader, APC.
Team huddle. But we lost. Don't be tired, guys. This isn't a loss. It's a practice for winning.
Nothing makes a mother prouder than seeing her child growing up.
But I know as he learns to lead, he'll face even more dirt, germs, and risk of illness.
That's why in changing seasons, you need strong Dettol protection. Because Dettol protects from up to 100 illness-causing germs.
Growing up needs Dettol protection.
Manager people, make we make the right choice, yo. Make we vote for a man of integrity. Hey, and so make we gather together and make this change. Work, my people of Nigeria. Together we go carry Nigeria to the next level. Nigeria don't decide. Vote Baba Buhari. Baba Buhari, na man of integrity. Hey, vote Baba Buhari. Man, we no corrupt, we no go chop our money. Hey, agriculture, the next level. Fight corruption, the next level. Good roads, the next level. Electricity, the next level. Railway, the next level. Empower, the next level. Trade money. For good health we go. Baba Buhari. My people, for the next level. APC, next level. Naija people, make we all come out to vote Baba Buhari.
This message is from Buhari Next Level Group.
You're welcome back. We now go over to our Lagos Network studio to join our Bolade Salami for business news. Over to you.
Thank you, Fatima. Good evening and welcome to the business news segment. The technology tracking system adopted by the federal government to monitor the operations of oil and gas sector in the country has recovered the sum of 1.2 trillion naira as royalties. Minister of State Petroleum Resources, Ibi Kachuku, while reeling out the 5 strategic steps, said operation in the downstream sector has also increased. Nigeria's oil and gas sector over the years witnessed some level of unregulated practice which resulted in the diversion of petroleum products, stolen oil blocks, and allegation of corrupt practices. In a bid to right the wrong and set all records straight, the Minister of State Petroleum Resources, Ibe Kachuku, while giving out the achievements of the ministry in the development of oil and gas sector, said 5 computer-based strategic systems, namely National Production Monitoring System, Crude Oil and LLNG Tracking System, Automatic Downstream System, and Value Monitoring Benchmark were introduced to curb the irregularities in the sector.
The last intervention that we've had of creativity has been Royal Indebtedness Recovery. And this has been largely pushed by the presidency's position that we must recover a lot of the royalty that was outstanding. And that has generated about 1.2 trillion naira.
The level of transparency, which has allowed for proper tracking of petroleum produce and an increase in revenue generation, as well as monitoring of vessels to the point of discharge, the minister rate will be sustained. The federal government has been urged to take advantage of investment opportunities in the capital market to mobilize funds for execution of projects. Capital market operators at a gathering in Lagos said government investment through savings bonds alone cannot fully finance infrastructure deficits, hence the need to float revenue bond. Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Okechukwu Enelama, informed a gathering of government resolve to partner market operators in order to ensure double-digit growth.
Like if we will come together to implement some of the agenda that I've had today, you certainly can contribute to getting us to strong GDP growth and ultimately double-digit GDP growth. It's also remarkable that non-oil GDP is growing faster than the overall GDP, which means that the diversification ambitions of government or intentions of government are beginning to take shape. And I will agree with you that the Securities and Exchange Commission and the capital markets must be given the relevant attention.
And now let's talk equities. Equities market closed midweek trading in the red. Joy Ken Abakwa is standing by to give us details.
Market reports. The bullish run in the Nigeria equities market witnessed a downturn at the close of Wednesday's trading, depreciating by 0.15% to close the all-share index at 32,413.92 basis points. Volume of shares traded was 470 million, valued at 4.24 billion naira, which exchanged hands in 5,858 deals. Market capitalization finished at 12.08 trillion. Unilever, Okomu Oil, and Nigeria Breweries all posted gains, while Seplat, Fort Oil, and PZ closed in red. Sectoral performance showed that most sectors closed in red, as NFC banking, insurance, and oil and gas depreciated by 1.79%, 0.73%, and 2.4%, while NSE Consumer Goods and NSE Industrial closed the green, appreciating by 0.89% and 1.61% respectively. And that's it on Stock Market Report. It's back to you, Abolade.
Thank you, Joy, and that's a wrap on business news. The news continues in Abuja. Good evening.
Thank you, Abolade. Now, there is this adage that says, seeing is believing. The largely agrarian communities in the corridor of Nasarawa Local Road and Local Oweto Bridge projects are seeing and believing. That's why they have pledged to support the federal government at all times towards the completion of the projects to raise their economic well-being. Correspondent Tessie Omeri reports that this is coming as the contractors are also bent on working very hard to meet the completion deadline.
The two projects rolled into will facilitate travel through Nasarawa and Benue states from the Federal Capital Territory to the east and other areas through the axis. User will be experiencing reduced distance and travel time. In addition to travel, there is abundant opportunities in agriculture, which the new corridor is expected to give a boost as part of the initiatives to develop the economy. The government is happy with the quality of work and contractors' determination to complete the projects.
The bridge will cut up more than 2 hours drive. Those passing from southeast to Abuja, we are happy that the contractors kept to the time.
We've completed the main works in the bridge this week, and as you can see, all the bridge is connected. What remains for us to do is the access roads.
The people say will continue to appreciate the federal government for the milestone and determination of continuing to fund the contract.
I'm very happy to federal government. A lot of people are being employed to this place.
The local Oweto Bridge, already 92% completed, according to the contractors, will be handed over before the end of this year. From Local, Tessie Omeri, NTA News.
I'm glad knowing you're out there watching News Extra. There'll be more reports when we return after the break. Do stay.
Here you go.
Madam.
That's it. Those nairas are enough.
Hi, dear. Helen! You got so much even after spending so little.
Savings is such a necessity.
You save everywhere. But here, you lose it all.
How?
With this?
Impossible.
New Tika Apic 10X. Even after applying up to 1 liter of your solution multiple times, you won't get the same cleaning that Apic gives you in a single round.
And the expense?
Far less compared to your 1 liter of solution. New Tika Apic. Top in cleaning,
top in savings.
Are you that electorate who collects money from political party A, political party B, and political party C, and then promise all of them under oath to vote for them on the day of elections? Hear this. If you sell your vote and then go on to vote for more than one political party or candidate, your vote shall be declared null and void. Your vote will not count. You will have lost an opportunity to vote a good leader because you sold your vote. Are you a politician who goes round buying votes? Hear this.
the money you spend buying votes may not count. The electorate who is selling his vote to you may have sold same vote to other parties and candidates. Stop buying votes. Stop selling votes. Let's join hands to make our elections credible. Your vote is your power. Use it to build a great nation. This message is from the National Orientation Agency.
You're welcome back. The Minister of Defense, Mansour Dang Ali, says the nation's judicial system should be strengthened to effectively handle cases arising from farmers and herders conflict. The minister stated this when he received the report of the Farmers Herders Crisis Committee in Abuja. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa has the details.
For decades, farmers' herders' crisis have killed, displaced thousands of people and property worth billions destroyed. Investigations show that desertification in parts of northern Nigeria, the nomadic nature of herders and quest for pasture, encroachment of designated grazing reserve areas, cattle rustling is also considered as a propelling remote causes of this farmers' herders' crisis. As a remedy, the security architecture of areas prone to the conflicts have been strengthened, while this committee was set up 6 months ago to provide lasting solutions to the security challenge.
Among the terms of reference were to determine the immediate and remote causes of the clashes, determine triggers of the crisis as they occur across the country, determine the extent of foreign involvement, if any, among others.
The present administration, under the able leadership of President Muhammadu Buhari, has taken immediate steps to address the problem. Efforts were made by the government to reform livestock management practices, address negative environmental trends, and curb cross-border movement of both cattle rustlers and armed banditry.
The federal government has also set up a mechanism to enhance peaceful coexistence among the chain group. In Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
Well, the Nigerian Navy is the second born of the armed forces. Well, don't ask me who is the first. And as the name implies, the Navy is the custodian of the nation's maritime domain. In this next report, Defense correspondent Olajide Bello reports on the successes of the Navy in its operations.
With a coastline of 420 nautical miles and 200 nautical miles exclusive economic zone, translating to about 84,000 square nautical miles, insecurity on the nation's maritime domain becomes a major concern. This the Nigerian Navy is tackling head-on through a trinity approach of surveillance, response and law enforcement towards curbing maritime threats on the nation's waters. Out of the identified 35 choke points, the Nigerian Navy have successfully manned 9 through effective patrol using the Nigerian Navy houseboats.
The mandate or the focus of the choke point control operations is to check crude oil thefts, particularly in the creeks.
Capacity development, insertion of special forces, improved maritime domain awareness, and collaborations with other maritime nations are part of aggressive measures adopted by the Navy.
In line with the need to ensure safety, that we avoid the swamp boogie approach. Swamp boogie is something like caterpillar that helps us to literally uproot all their lines of production and all whatnot.
Reactivation of jetties, enhanced personnel welfare, and platform acquisition also characterized activities in the year under review. Despite the successes recorded by the Navy towards reducing maritime crime, there are still some bottlenecks that needs to be addressed.
We are still making concerted effort to see to it that the delays that we encounter in the prosecution of these offenders is reduced to the barest.
While commending President Muhammadu Buhari for his unalloyed support, the Nigerian Navy, just like its motto, Onward Together, reiterated its commitment towards safeguarding the nation's maritime domain. In Abuja, Olajide, Bello, NTA News.
Well, elsewhere, the federal government has expressed satisfaction with the progress of work or road projects in the Northeast sub-region. This was when the Director Highways in charge of Northeast, Mohammed Rufai, led officials of the Federal Ministry of Power, Works and Housing on assessment tour of infrastructural projects in the region. Works and Housing correspondent Muhammad Hamza Sheikh now reports.
For so long, those plying the Gombe-Numan-Iola Road, being one of the economically viable roads connecting the region to other parts of the country, have suffered untold hardship. The Muhammadu Buhari-led administration has now changed this narrative by showing total commitment towards completing not only this, but all viable road projects in the Northeast. So far, Phase 1 of the project, 68-kilometer Gombe-Kaltungo section, awarded at the cost of 8 billion naira, is 85% completed, while Cham-Numan section has picked up and progressing steadily.
We are just on routine inspection of all the federal highway projects to ensure that the contractors are delivering on schedule and to ensure that the quality is maintained as per specifications. And as you have seen, so far, so good.
It is the same heartwarming story on the 112-kilometer Mayo-Balwa-Jada Ganye-Tongo Road, awarded at the cost of 22.6 billion naira. Though only 4 months old, the impressive progress on the project has already won the hearts of the people of the agriculturally rich area.
We call these local governments that are this Adamawa South food basket of Adamawa, and most of the farmers are not happy. It affected the farm product in this area. So before it was very bad.
Officials of the ministry say the tour has been worthwhile. Muhammad Hamza Sheikh, NTA News.
And it's good news from the sports segment. That's after the break when we return.
Over 1 trillion naira housing investment in just 3 years. Federal Ministry of Power, Works and Housing is sinking over 100 billion naira. Family Home Fund is investing over 500 billion naira. Federal Mortgage Bank Limited has invested billions of naira on housing finance. Federal Housing Authority is also spending billions of naira to house Nigerians. With a population of over 180 million Nigerians, housing development never got the desired attention until this time of President Muhammadu Buhari. While shanties and dilapidated buildings characterized Nigerian landscape in the past, the Buhari's government now is sinking billions of naira for inclusive housing for all Nigerians. For 16 years, the Federal Housing Authority had no single finance from the federal government, but within 3 years of President Buhari, the Federal Housing Authority is back on site, building houses for Nigerians. Supporting Mr. President is a support for more houses to Nigerians. Let's ensure continuity. Let's vote for the man who is doing it.
Good morning, Mama Carol. Auntie, good morning. You're here so early in the morning. I hope there's no problem.
There is no problem. I just came to discuss some things with you.
Okay, just a minute. Anne, please help me take Carol to school. Carol, aren't you ready?
Yes, Mommy. I'm ready for school.
All right, my darling.
Good morning, Ma'am.
Good morning. Where is your lunch pack?
No, Ma, I don't take lunch pack to school anymore.
You did not prepare food for her.
You know what? With the National Homegrown School Feeding Program by the federal government, I don't do that anymore. It saves me money and time. Yes, Carol, ask her.
Carol, really?
Yes, Auntie. They give us very delicious food in school and it's free.
Fantastic. That means a lot of people will be benefiting from this feeding program.
Absolutely. There has been increase in enrollment of children into public schools, and this has provided jobs for caterers, food vendors, even farmers are experiencing financial boom in their business.
Wonderful. The National Homegrown School Feeding Program is a great investment in the future of our children. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
This is NTA News Extra, reaching you live from the network service of the NTA. And sports now. John Dede and Adejoke Durogbade emerged winners of the first National Duathlon Championship in Lagos as Governor Akinwumi Ambode receives the World Cup trophy of the International Cricket Council in Lagos. Olumide Oguntola has the details on our sports update.
The Flying Eagles of Nigeria qualified for the third place match of the ongoing AFCON Under-20 Championship after losing 3-4 via penalties to their Malian counterparts. The teams had earlier played a 1-1 draw during regulation time.
On Mali. Oh, but he's in the cross, waited revenge, and they've done it!
Over 100 athletes from various clubs and states of the Federation competed for honours at the first National Duathlon Championship held in Lagos. It took John Dede of Sharks Club of Port Harcourt 57 minutes and 35 seconds to win the race that involved biking. Adejoke Durogbade of Oyo State won the female event covering 20 kilometers in 1 hour 5 minutes 5 seconds.
These youngsters, they are our future. We must be there for them.
In another development, Lagos State Governor Akinwumi Ambode has received the 2019 World Cup trophy of the International Cricket Council at the Lagos House, Ikeja, with a pledge to come up with an action plan to institutionalize cricket in secondary schools across the state.
Intention of which is to bring the World Cup trophy closer to the people of Nigeria.
The APC gubernatorial candidate, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, has promised to develop sports in all ramifications with a special attention to grassroots sports development if voted into power in the next dispensation.
That were interested as Lagos State to manage the facility that we're in here.
From Ibadan, Lanre Gbeleyi reports that members of the Nigeria Football Federation, Nigeria Referees Association, management members, officials and players of Shooting Stars Football Club of Ibadan paid a condolence visit to the country home of late Taiwo Ogunjobi in Ibadan.
Everybody in Nigeria who has gone through the whole gamut of football like he has done.
It's not so much for players, referees, coaches.
With sports updates, Olumide Oguntola, NTA News.
All Progressives Congress APC has condoled the people of Rivers State over the fatalities and injuries recorded at the party's presidential campaign rally in Port Harcourt on Tuesday. The party, in a statement by its National Publicity Secretary, Larry Issa Onilu, said the incident was as a result of a stampede, according to information available to them. The APC extends its deepest condolences to the victims' families and loved ones, and also pray for the full and speedy recovery of its members and supporters injured during the stampede. And just before we go, we'll take a look at the weather prospects for tomorrow across the country.
Hello and welcome to the weather forecast from the Nigerian Meteorological Agency. The spate of dust is over the country is expected to continue going into Thursday, with quite some intensification of surface pressure observed over the source region. And so we expect most northern areas to have dusty conditions in the morning hours with visibility of about 2 to 5 kilometers in 1 or 2 areas, especially areas